Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Europa Universalis IV with me, Alfapiomega, Meiou and Taxes, historical immersion in Bohemia. So Zygmunt I Kinski is now on the throne. His mother has stepped down, and him being 15, he's not really ready to rule such an empire, but hopefully his advisors, and he's vengeful. Great. I wanted to say that maybe he's, gonna be okay, but god damn it. Okay, so who can be our wife? The ruler of Bosnia has... Oh, Helena! Helena has become a queen consort, and she's actually really good. She's 28 though. It sucks a bit, but hey. We're gonna be fine. And we're getting quite a lot of points with the exception of military. So let's switch our focus on military power. And we need to annex one more vassal. And as I mentioned before, I am going to annex Croatia. I've decided on that because it's cheaper than annexing Bosnia. And these provinces are a bit more valuable. Slavonia, Prigorje, Uka, Krbava and Dalmatia are all pretty valuable. They got some decent development. Most got roads, so it's not gonna be an issue connecting to Dalmatia, which is going to become our next big port. So, let's start the process now. We do have the diplomatic power to do it. Oh, speaking of the devil, an advisor has died. You can get Josef Železný, who would be very expensive. Let's instead get you. You're 32, born in Ostmark. That's not bad. Okay, how long is this going to take? 341, so that's about 3 years. Okay, 9 per turn. We'll be bleeding out a bit of diplo power here and there. In the meantime, let's take the next asceticism idea, which is the monastic diversity. By having a wide variety of religious orders, ascetics can choose to join an order that specializes in an area of interest to them. Some choose to preach to unbelievers, often to produce wine and cheese, others to become teachers. In so doing, they manage to gather highly educated people together for the common good. Lowered national unrest and extra missionaries. Awesome. I have to admit that, this is the first time I'm going so deeply into the whole religion and fanaticism, but we are really doing good on the unrest. Having such a big empire, it's kind of awesome having such a peaceful empire. And our main army in Praha can get more troops, so let's get 2 more infantry units, volley fire musketeers. What can we get? Convert heretics peacefully. Okay, I got an extra missionary, so let's go convert Protestants. I've been pouring so much money into this conversion stuff, because from time to time, it seems like everything is fine, but when you look at Szczecin, you got minorities there, and they can... persecuted reform presence and stuff like that, so they could take over. Now, we have the manufactories spreading in... race to the purple. Actually, this reminds me, we now have 4 active cardinals. Can increase the papal influence a bit. Corrupt taxman, no. Let's get him out of there. But what I wanted to say is that Praha is still working on the on the highway network. We finished the merchants' quarter, so not sure if that helped. But I asked the greater nobles for a favor of granting us manpower, and use this manpower to start the project in building the highway network in in Časovsko and Brněnsko as well. So now Prague is connected to Vienna through these 2 provinces with a highway network. These are also the most valuable provinces we have. Not sure about Brněnsko though, but you know. I'd like to spread this further via Prešporok and Novohrad-Hond to Pest later on when we get a bit more manpower. Which reminds me that I was thinking about upgrading Novohrad-Hond, as Zvolen is also... Yeah, well... We got something in Zvolen, we could, but everything would be really expensive. Art Corporation would be an option. Is there the marketplace here, and how would Art Corporation... 498. Okay, I'll build an Art Corporation in Zvolen as an investment, and when the roads are finished, we're gonna continue with the highway network here. Later on, we'll spread it north and south from Praha, and even further into Kolosh, which we have upgraded, but you know, not drastically. There's still ways to go to make this a decent seed city for us. And yes, I know, I still don't have the capital building in Ostmark. We need to do that soon. But, you know, it's gonna take a while. So now, Zvolen will build this Art Corporation, and yeah, we'll finish the highway in the first... Okay, I get it. We're gonna build the capital in Ostmark next. Been talking about that for quite some time. Not that autonomy would be a big issue for us, but you know, if we want to focus on Kolosh and the northern and southern provinces later on more, we need to finish this project that has been, you know, on the table for at least 100 years by now. Another thing that's gonna change the landscape for us is the swivel cannons technology. So let's get that one. Swivel cannons, level 35, military. Swivel cannons allowed artillery to react more quickly on the battlefield and making them much more useful. Military tactics increased by 0.25, artillery fire increased by 0.5, and it enables leather guns and star fort. So the next level of forts will be built across our empire, which might not seem like much, but remember that they're giving a base urban gravity increased by 1, and urban gravity, I think we're gonna get additional 10%. Who has the star forts? Mitsukia had it. Yeah, 1 extra base urban gravity and 5% extra modifier. So, for example, in case of Prague, that means we get 1 extra, so that's 4.2 extra base urban gravity and additional 5%, which would be something like 8. So like 12 extra urban gravity. Unfortunately, we'll need quite a lot of manpower for that, and manpower I don't have right now, so we need to be a bit careful. And what did I want to do? Oh yeah, the swivel cannons. Leather guns. They have the same amount of offensive fire as the flying batteries, but 1 more defensive. We got 1 more defensive shock, and that's about it. Leather guns. As more nations began to see the advantage of mobile artillery, they looked into ways to increase the mobility. One change was to attach dragoons to the artillery so that the infantry could defend the guns while the horses pulled the cannons. Another change was to cast the guns out of light copper instead of heavy iron, binding the cannon in leather. This reduced the crew needed to 2 and allowed for very mobile cannons, but the copper cannons grew so overheated that they were unusable after only a few shots, and the weapon was largely abandoned after a few years. Okay, that's not great, but hey, I guess they know what they're doing. So if we wanted to build the Star Fort in Praha, how much manpower would that require? 17,000, yeah, we really need to wait a bit. How are the Western nobles doing? Couldn't they grant us a bit of manpower? 19,000, that would be just for the Star Fort in Praha. I could honor them by giving them 200 gold, which I will, and I'll ask them for that 19,000 manpower and use it to upgrade the fort in Praha. Sounds like a good idea. and 113 gold to do it. Okay, so the first star fort ever will be built in Praha. England used some of their colonies to pirates. What are you guys doing anyway? There's Nouvelle-France. England has a New England colony up there. English Columbia. This is the first playthrough where the historical immersion actually can take full-fledged development. So I really like the slow colonization that's taking place. Anything here? Dongo. Well, there's no Portugal. The Portuguese colonization of Africa is pretty much non-existent. There's no one in South Africa either. Huh, I like that. I like how more of a local engagement this is. I know that we have a colonial range now. We don't have any colonists, but let's just see where we could go if we wanted to. Colonial. Okay. So we could take Arguin. And these are too far. Nadar. Nadar could be the furthest we could go. But if we, for example, take Nadar, Arguin don't have support, yeah. If we take Nadar, which has a really nice port possibilities, we could start a colony in South America. It would be kind of fun. Very valuable place here. There is. Let's see for Delta. Could be just like a little small colony there for us. Dream on. October 1682, and we have annexed Croatia. So, I wanted to see if this influenced somehow the opinion of our members. No, just a next vassal, but not a member of the whole Roman Empire. Okay, so just the vassals are pissed, no one else. And I don't really mind that. Because, look at that! We have gained the new provinces, and new provinces means new fun. So are you. 2 infantry units. Okay, I guess you're gonna move to Praha to aid the main army of us. Oh, you can't. Okay, you need to get a bit better at moving. So check them out. We got Pest here. Then there's Pest. There's no... Okay, there's a road around through Backa, Srem, Savonia. Prigorie, a decent province, but does not have a road. And then there's Lika Krbava and Dalmatia. So Dalmatia, as I mentioned, is... quite important for us because there's going to be a port. And I'll need to build a road in Pech and Prigorie. And that will connect these provinces to our local capital in Pest, which is kind of good, when you think about it. Oh, nice! New heir to the throne. I was just about to say that we don't have an heir, but now we do, which is great. He's not great, but he's better than nothing. Let's have an heir. Vladislav Kinsky. He's a baby. And I'll switch my vote to myself. Because we do want to keep the throne in Bohemia. So who's voting for me? You, and us. We're golden. Good. So, you will now go back to Praha to join that army. And we can take the next idea called missionary work. Missionary work. Devout individuals have always been called to spread the good word of our faith to others who are not as fortunate as to know the truth yet. Organizing this process by creating schools and encouraging our youth to spend time as missionaries will have drastic effect on our proselytism efforts. So missionary strength increased by 1 and missionary strength versus heretics increased by 2%, which is awesome. Poland wishes a royal marriage. I'm gonna give them that. We are no longer above the possible amount of diplomatic relations, which is good. So we're getting 10, 8, 6. Anyone here interesting? No, you're just too expensive. Anyone here? No, you're just too expensive. So as I mentioned before, we're saving up to build the capital in Ostmark. It's gonna take quite a lot. Wait, that's not the bureaucratic ideas. Here they are. Expand the bureaucracy. Yes, 3,000. Once we're done with that, the roads will come next. I've been saving manpower for that for a while, but I think that Praha... Yes, Praha has the highway network now. Awesome. Build a great palace. Monarchs were often struggling with ways to subdue the nobility. The rise of firearms reduced the nobles' role as warriors, but left them with, in the eyes of the monarchs, too much idle time. Some monarchs created great new palaces with elaborate court rituals to dazzle the nobles and keep them occupied. Versailles is the greatest expression of this movement. So you got 58 prestige and 94... I don't think we're gonna do it, because we are going to build a great palace, but in Vienna. We don't need it in Prague. Hopefully... Yeah, we're just vengeful, so that does not mean we need anything there. I had to recruit more generals because they died, and due to awful armored tradition, we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here. That's not good, but there's not much I can do about it. Now we could start annexing Bosnia as well, but I think for now we'll just keep with this. And we're still coring the province here, taking forever. But it's the only heretical province that we have. So once we're done with that, Stettin and Dalmatia will be heavily invested in, while we build the roads through Prešporok and Novohrad to Pest. It also has a highway network. How are you doing, guys? 142,250, 199,000 to 253,000, and here we got 605,000 to 654,000. Not bad. Over the limits, but 63% in Upper Danube is Bohemia, 44 in Dnest and Vistula is us, 44 in Lower Danube. It's not bad. Not bad. I've been considering starting building some ships. We could, of course. But we're not really interested in that right now. I would need... Or maybe we could build a shipyard in Dalmatia. That's not actually a bad idea. What's our... Okay, we are starting to get a bit of power in Adriatic Sea. We're getting some in the Lower Danube. Too bad we're not owning this province. That would be so good. Bay of Split. Actually, couldn't we threaten them for that? I think that might be possible. They really are a minor. They got just Venice, this province here, and then a couple here. I don't really think that they're that important. Well, we're vengeful, so let's try if we can build a spy network here that could allow us to do this. 4th of November 1683, and we can now build the bureaucratic capital building in Vienna. So let's do that. Yes, let's construct a capital here. Extra 25% urban gravity and extra base urban gravity of 5. Now that's not gonna really move much with the autonomy. It can, but you know. Actually, it will. It seems like it will. Interesting. Was not expecting that. There's a whole section here which does not have such a low autonomy. But, you know, it would be more useful, for example, here or up in the north. But for all reasons, Vienna seems to be the one where we want to go. We are also going to go with upgrading the roads in Prešporok and Novohrad-Hont as we wanted, because this is to connect our capitals all together. So you guys can contribute the rural wealth, and we can 40,000 troops. Jesus Christ. That's for Prešporok. And now Novohrad-Hont, which is a bit more advanced but slightly smaller. Let's pray it could be cheaper. Yes, you guys can contribute urban wealth, 25%, and manpower 32,000. Okay, well. Oh, Komarom shifts to Slovak. Awesome. It's kind of funny because this is supposed to be a Hungarian province that was converted by the Austrians. So kind of weird, but Slovak or not, they will pay. We can also get a new state, which I think is not a bad idea, but where? Dalmatia. Okay, I guess Dalmatia seems like a good choice. I'm building that spy network on Venice so that we can get this province threatened from, or stolen from them. It's a better way to say this. Let's see, you guys are all Christian, right? Wait, I need to switch it here. Yeah, Catholic. Okay, so Dalmatia is the only one that we want to develop for now. Oh no, we wanted those roads built. I have to look into that. Let's start by building a trade wharf here. And we wanted to build roads in Pregoria and Patch, didn't we? This should be cheaper. We got some rural wealth. 14,000, okay, that's not that bad. And Patch, rural wealth. Come on, baby, don't leave me hanging. 25 and 14,000. Okay, so that's for all the goals that we had up until now. We'll have a nice road network going on everywhere. Pogrom against the Catholic faith, really? Bastards. All the way from Stettin through all of our capitals down to Dalmatia. I wish the game had a bit more dramatic or, advanced trade, sort of, trade simulation, because this would be a really nice road network. The next version of 3.0 of EU for Meiou should have that, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Stettin will need to be further developed, Dalmatia will need to be further developed, but once we're done with that, it'll be golden. So that's all for this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.